Hi guys. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the challenge seminar kickoff. This means that you have started your journey to making some healthier choices, and we're really excited to help you and thank you for trusting us with your journey. If you're listening to this seminar, you either might have missed the seminar or your gym has opted to hear it straight from the source. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me for a second. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole Acoin. I am a registered dietitian and own a nutrition practice and a CrossFit in South Florida. So, our philosophy here is really focusing on behavior-based model and helping people make realistic change to promote optimal health. So not putting someone on a restrictive diet that they'll see really quick results with, then resort back to old habits, really focusing on the long-term game, setting you up for success long-term and helping you achieve those results through behavior modification. So we started working with different CrossFits about 2.5 years ago and really have been able to expand the reach and help lots of people. So we're excited to start this seminar today and get you guys started on your journey to optimal health. So the first thing we want to talk about is what we're going to be going over today. So we know that success leads to motivation, and you're most motivated at the beginning. Motivation is what gets you started, but we really need to create healthy habits to keep you going. So we're the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to really talk about creating those healthy habits, tips for success, and setting realistic goals, coming up with an action plan and action steps. Learning some of the foundations of nutrition, helping you sort the fictions from the facts. I know there's so much information in the internet and there's analysis by paralysis. There's so much stuff going on. You just don't know what to choose and which way to go and what's right versus what's wrong. And so many people are, call themselves nutrition experts and nutritionists, and yet you don't really know what the right answer is. So we're going to help you sort some of the fiction from the facts, and we'll talk about the meal plans, and then obviously we want to know how we pick the winner and who's going to be in contention for the winner of this challenge at the end. So first thing we need to look at is what you're doing now. So we want to find out, I'm going to ask you these questions and you can answer them or kind of take some notes in your handbook if you'd like, but we're going to look at consistency. So how often are you eating? Are you eating every few hours? Are you just having one big meal a day? Does your plate look balanced with protein, carbs, and fats? I had someone come in the other day and ask me, like, what are these macros that everyone talks about? Well, macronutrients are the nutrients that provide calories, and macros refers to 3 words: protein, carbs, and fat. So I'm sure we've heard those before, and if you haven't, we're going to go over that in a little bit. We want to look at what we're drinking. Are we drinking water, or are we drinking diet soda, lemonade, juice, coffees, or flavored coffees? What are we drinking throughout the day? What are we eating around our workouts? How often are we eating out, and when are we eating out? Are we looking at, what's the reason why? Are we going out to eat because we don't have any food prepped at home and convenience, or are we going out to eat because we have work meetings every day for lunch? What is typically places that we go? So where are we going? What do we usually get when we're there? Are we the 3-course type of people that we need a appetizer and a dessert, or is one entree going to be sufficient enough? We want to look at tracking our food. I originally was using food logs many years ago and found MyFitnessPal about probably 10 years ago. And MyFitnessPal is a great tool to use and track your food. It's very user friendly. So we want everyone to be setting up an account with MyFitnessPal during the challenge and tracking your food at some point. Should you focus on quality or quantity? The answer is you should focus on both. You could be eating all the right types of foods, the right quality of foods, but too much. And you could be eating too little of the wrong foods and not having sustained energy. So we want to have that balance of both quality and quantity. We need to look at all the pieces of the puzzle. So everything that we just talked about, we're going to dive into more. It's not just here's a restrictive diet, follow this for 28 days. That's not how you're going to be set up with a sustainable plan long term. We want to look at all the pieces of the puzzle so that you could be set up for success. So hopefully all of you have your biometric testing done. You should have gotten your weight, your body fat percentage, and your measurements. If you haven't, please contact your nutrition coach and the person that's facilitating the challenge, because we need to get your measurements done and in. So when we're looking at goals, once we have our numbers in front of us, we can set some realistic and measurable goals. We want to put some numbers to it. We need to define success, and we want to have a goal that's realistic so that we can be successful over the course of 4 to 6 weeks. What does that mean for you? Well, when you have a goal, then it gives you a sense of where your direction is. What do you need to do to be successful? What does success look in your eyes? We want to write it down. So maybe that goal is body fat percentage lost, inches in your waist, or maybe it is just pounds of weight that you want to lose over the course of 4 to 6 weeks. So we know that 1 to 2 pounds is realistic weight loss. We want to set goals because it will help motivate you. You want to write down the why. Why is that important to you? Maybe you have a picture of yourself in a bikini or an outfit that you really want to get when you reach your goal. I have a client that has a picture of this mountain next to her computer that she works at every day, because that is her motivation, that she wants to lose the weight so that she can climb this mountain successfully. And she knows that getting that 50 pounds off is really going to help her. We want to set realistic goals. If you're saying that you're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, although you might hear those commercials on the radio, that's not realistic and not sustainable. You want to set something that's very realistic that you can achieve. We need to set a time frame so that you know exactly how long you have to achieve your goal. I would set a short-term goal and a long-term goal. So if you want to lose 50 pounds, okay, let's do it. Put a number of months to that. Then let's break it down to a specific goal that you want to have during the challenge. You want to hold yourself accountable and stay motivated. And how you do that is start talking to us. Your nutrition coach should be asking you your goals. You need to tell your nutrition coach the goal so that you can they can help you stay accountable, and they can write it down on your file too. We want to look at realistic goals. So if someone, an example of a goal, wanted to lose 1% body fat and 4 pounds of body weight during the challenge, during the 28-day challenge, that's very realistic. 1 to 2% of body weight fat per month is realistic. 1 to 2 pounds per week is realistic. So I always tell clients, go on the low end. So 1% body fat is very realistic for a month, and 4 pounds of body weight is very realistic for a month. We want it to be measurable, so got to get some numbers in there. We want it to be attainable. I will achieve this goal by the end of the 28-day challenge, or if we're doing a 6-week challenge, we'll increase the numbers a little bit. It needs to be realistic and time sensitive too. So it's your turn. I want you guys to set 2 goals. Number 1, maybe it's a long-term goal. And number 2, a short-term goal that you are going to achieve over the next 4 to 6 weeks. We can pause this and write down your goals in your handbooks. And we also write them down on the nutrition board in the gym too. So make sure you write those things down so that you guys as a team could help each other stay accountable. You could also write your goal in your private Facebook group for the challenge as well. So let's dive into some of the foundations for nutrition. The macros that you hear quite often, and my client was asking me about last weekend that she didn't know what macros meant. The first of the macronutrients that we're going to talk about, the nutrients that provide us calories, is carbohydrates. And that's our body's main source of fuel. There's different types of carbohydrates. That's probably the biggest umbrella that you will see is carbohydrates. A lot of foods underneath it. We have fruit and juice and sugar, breads, desserts, pasta, sweet potato, butternut squash, lots of starchy vegetables. Even non-starchy vegetables have a little bit of carbs in them. You've got a lot of your junk food and processed foods that you'll see in the carbohydrate category as well. Fiber, you have fiber, that's a type of carbohydrate that helps you stay full and satisfied. It also helps you stay regular. So if you have issues going to the bathroom, you want to have some fiber as well in your diet, because that will help bulk up your stool and also helps your stool move throughout your GI system, keep you regular. We want to have, there's higher glycemic foods and lower glycemic foods. Basically, glycemic index just means how much insulin will your body have to produce to react to the food that you're eating. So higher glycemic foods, you're going to have to produce more insulin to break those down because your blood sugar is going to go up. We want to stay away from all the high glycemic foods. That insulin response, that inflammatory response, is something that we don't want to have all the time. We want to, if we're going to have some higher glycemic foods, those are going to be around our workout time, so we can use that quick boost in glucose to help with restoring glycogen stores after our workout. I went to a nutrition seminar a couple years ago and someone was saying, eat Fruity Pebbles around your workout, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Liquids are faster digested than solid food, but having something that's a little bit higher glycemic around your workout time is okay. Most clients will do something like a Fit Aid or maybe a half of a protein shake with some coconut water, or even an applesauce, something like that. Quick digesting carbohydrates after the workout. Artificial sweeteners. This is a common question that I get asked about a lot because people want to know about replacing sugar. We know sugar is a type of carbohydrate. And even though you might have natural forms such as agave and raw honey and raw sugar and sugar cane, they still are all processed by the liver. And when it's not burned off, it turns into fat. So sugar is sugar in our body. It still causes that inflammatory response. Artificial sweeteners, although stevia is a more natural non-calorie sweetener, I wouldn't recommend loading up on the artificial sweeteners because it causes your body to crave more carbs. We know that there's research done, the people that load up on a ton of artificial sweeteners, their inches around their belly actually doesn't go down. It inhibits them from seeing weight loss as efficiently as people that don't do all the artificial stuff. So let's try and stay away from all the artificial sweeteners. If you're doing a little stevia, okay, fine, but let's try and, for the most part, just stick with whole foods. If you're looking for something sweet, maybe you do like frozen banana ice cream, or maybe you're doing a little bit of a Greek yogurt, or you can even do like some protein powder mixed with milk and freeze it, get a little pudding type of thing. So we've got sources of carbohydrates. We have our non-starchy vegetables. Those are going to be the favorable ones. We want to load up half of our plate with those non-starchy vegetables, such as broccoli and carrots, green beans, asparagus. We've got a fourth of our plate should be starchy carbs. That might look like a piece of fruit, or it might look like sweet potato, peas, acorn squash, or quinoa, oatmeal, beans, that type of thing. And then we've got some carbs that we're going to have in moderation. Maybe that looks like a rice cake, or Ezekiel bread, or some of the higher glycemic fruits such as banana, grapes, melon, or maybe even some fingerling potatoes. This is a picture of something I did in the gym a couple years ago. We looked at how much sugar is in some of the popular drinks. We did this during a kids class. It was eye-opening for them to see how much sugar, and especially parents, how much sugar is in these bottles of soda. Most people don't realize that the lemonade, because it just has a picture of lemons on it, is loaded with sugar, or how much sugar is in those Pop-Tarts that you give kids as they're running out the door for school. All that sugar, again, causing that inflammatory response, causes our energy to spike up really quickly and then drop down very low. So we want to help maintain our glucose levels and keep a more stable blood sugar level throughout the day. And that would be partially due to cutting out the added sugar things. Luckily, the new nutrition labels that are coming out over the next few months are going to say how much added sugar is in something. Yes, there's natural sugars in fruits, but there's a ton of added sugar in most of the processed foods that we consume today. The next macronutrient that we're going to talk about is protein. So this should take up about 30% of our diet, and protein really helps our regulate body function, aids in hormone function. And we have different types of amino acids. There's essential amino acids that cannot be synthesized by the body, and we have to consume them in our diet. These amino acids are found in meats and yogurt, cheese. We have different types of meat substitutes for the vegetarians or getting beans and nuts. But when we're looking at the vegetarians, we want to understand that beans, although they do have some protein, they have much more carbs. Nuts, although they have some protein, they have much more fat. So if we're just getting our sources of protein through those two types of foods, it's just not going to be enough protein, or we're going to go over on the carbs and fat that we need for the day. We want to stick with mostly lean meats. This looks like skinless chicken breasts. It looks like egg whites, turkey, fish. We'll have some medium fat meats such as eggs, maybe like a sirloin once in a while, or chicken, dark meat with no skin. Some people just really like the chicken thighs or darker meat chicken instead of the chicken breast. We could also flavor the chicken breast with like pecan crusted or some avocado on there, something like that, to give them a little bit more flavor. Then you have the high fat meats. You'll notice that the high fat meats have much more fat in there than necessarily protein. It's just going to consume all the fat that we need for the day. So we want to try and limit those high fat meats as much as possible. Then we have fat. Fat gets a bad rap because a lot of people think fat makes you fat, and that's not necessarily the case. We need fat in our diet. We want fat from mostly nuts and seeds. This should comprise about 30% of our diet too. It should be mostly things that are coming from omega-3s and nuts and seeds and plant-based sources of fat instead of the animal-based sources of fat. So healthy fats from avocado and nut butters, olive oil, coconut oil, that type of thing, rather than loading up on fried foods and high-fat meats that will cause increased saturated fats. And we know the baked goods have those trans fats in there. When we're looking at our plate, we really want to look at focusing on half of our plate vegetables and a quarter lean meats and a quarter of the starches. So focusing on chicken and fish and turkey, looking at the way it's prepared. You might get chicken, but if it's fried chicken or sauteed in a ton of oil, that's going to add a lot of extra fat. So we want to look at how things are prepared. And then we also want to look at what we're drinking. It's really easy to drink your calories. So for clients that are trying to gain weight, we tend to add a smoothie, or our kids that are trying to gain weight, we're adding some different drinkable calorie options. But for most of us who are trying to lose weight, we want to stay away from all of the high calorie, high sugar drinks. We look at sodas and teas, they could have up to 64 grams, 18 teaspoons, not 18 grams, of sugar in the specific drink. So we can go back to that picture, but it's almost a whole cup of sugar just in a drink, and that just provides a lot of empty calories that aren't going to give us sustained energy. We really want to stick to water. We'll talk about hydration a little bit more soon, but we want to be sticking to mostly water throughout the day. We want to look at whole foods. So we should be really shopping the perimeter of the grocery store where all of the non-processed foods are, vegetables and fruits and meats, nuts and seeds, all of those things that are non-processed that don't necessarily have a nutrition label on them. Doesn't mean they don't have calories, but just means that they're not processed or made in a manufacturer. Those whole foods are going to provide us nutrients. That's going to give us the higher quality nutrients that we really need to sustain a healthy lifestyle. Those whole grains are in the vegetables loaded with fiber, which plays a role with lowering cholesterol levels for the people that are looking to improve their cholesterol levels, and also helps keep us full and satisfied. The processed foods are loaded with sugar. So we don't realize a lot of times that the all natural fruit juice or granola bars have so much sugar as they do. So trying to stick to the perimeter of the grocery store and cutting out a lot of that processed food so that we're really focused on 90% of our groceries as the perimeter of the grocery store. We want to check a food label. We know that the ingredients are listed from most abundant to least abundant. So if sugar is the first ingredient on the ingredient label, we want to try and put that item down. Going back to the plate method, hopefully everyone got a 3-compartment container, but we want half of our container, half of our plate to be non-starchy vegetables. So those broccoli, carrots, green beans, asparagus. sauteed spinach, that type of thing, non-starchy vegetables. We're going to have some lean meats in a quarter of the plate. That might look like chicken or fish or turkey. And then we're going to have some starchy carbs. That might look like a sweet potato or butternut squash, even some quinoa. When we look at the meal plans, you're going to notice that there's ranges on there. So these meal plans aren't customized based on the calories you need rather than a general guideline of, okay, women trying to lose weight, we're going to go at the low end of the ranges here. Men trying to lose weight will stick at the middle end of the ranges, and our performance athletes should be at the high end of the ranges. So if we're looking at these meal plans, if it says 4 to 7 ounces of protein, women are going to go to the 4 ounces of protein. If it says 1/2 to 1 cup of quinoa, we'll go to the half of a cup of quinoa for a woman trying to lose weight. You'll notice if it has those little stars or asterisks next to it, that means that there's a recipe on the website. What you're going to do is you're going to go to healthystepsnutrition.com. Under the nutrition tab, you're going to see healthy recipes. You're just going to click on that and you're going to see all the PDFs for the recipes on there. You can also go to the looking glass in the top left corner of the website and type in the recipe that you're looking for, and it'll pull up that way. When you log your food into MyFitnessPal, that's going to be a great way for you to ensure that you're staying on track. So the foods that are in the meal plan, super easy to find those in MyFitnessPal. If there's something with a bar scan code on it, you could just take a picture and scan it right up. For interpreting the meal plan, all of the portion sizes are cooked. So if it says 1 cup of oatmeal, that's not going to be 1 cup of oatmeal raw. It's going to be 1 cup cooked. So we know that about the grains are going to about double in size. So if you do a 1/2 cup of oatmeal raw, it's going to turn into 1 cup. Our vegetables are going to go by half in size. So if we cook 1 cup of carrots, it's going to shrivel down to about a 1/2 cup. Lastly, our proteins, they're going to decrease by 20 to 25%. So we know that if we cook 6 ounces, it's not going to be 6 ounces when it's cooked because we know the water is going to take out of that specific meat. Meal prepping. So this is something that is going to really help you stay on track. If you're not ready to meal prep every single dish on the meal plan, that's okay. And honestly, I don't do that all the time either. There's a lot of recipes here on the meal plan, and you could just pick a couple that you want to stick with for the first week and then move on to a few different ones the next week. We know that the meatloaf muffins makes 12 meatloaf muffins, so if it's just you eating it, that could last you 6 days, the meatloaf muffins. Pulled chicken makes quite a few portions as well. So what you could do if you don't like eating the same thing a few days in a row, you could freeze it, or maybe you pair up with someone, be an accountability partner for someone, and you can swap food with them. We recommend typically to prepare all the food on Sunday so it sets you up for the week. But if you have a schedule where you work Sundays or Monday, Tuesdays are your days off, okay, use one of those days. That's perfectly fine. We want to make sure that we're prepping at least a few staples throughout the week. Look at a crock pot to help you, a 3-compartment container for you to store the food in so it's already portioned and ready to go. All you have to do is grab and go, and muffin tins are helpful too. So you can take a few minutes to kind of think about what recipes you want to prepare this week, pull out those menus and take a look. Ask your coaches what recipes are their favorite. Our favorites are the pulled chicken and meatloaf muffins. Amish oatmeal is really good. Again, you'll find those recipes on healthystepsnutrition.com and then under the nutrition tab. So prepping, those 3-compartment containers are really helpful. You're going to put your vegetables in that big container, and then you're going to put your starch and your protein in the other 2 halves. When we look at recipes, again, healthystepsnutrition.com, you're going to go under the nutrition and the healthy recipes. The ones that we typically go for, the meatloaf muffins, pulled chicken, 4-ingredient protein pancakes are really good, and the egg muffins. When we look at what we should be doing is consistency. So this is really important because we want to be consistent throughout the day, but then also on the weekends too. If you're really good during the week and then you go crazy on the weekends, it's going to counteract all of your hard work during the week. So pick yourself a day that you, or, a treat that you have one day during the week and then move on. Doesn't mean going crazy all day, just have a treat and then move on. We should be eating every 3 hours consistently to ensure that our blood sugar is stable, optimizing hormone levels, and ensure that we're not going to get super hungry. We get to that point where we're hangry and we'll eat everything really quickly. We want to always pair protein and carbohydrates and a little bit of fat with every meal and snack. We want to plan our meals ahead of time so that we know what we're going to have instead of just grabbing anything in a moment of hunger. You can set a timer if you forget. If you're the type of person that will go work all day and then just forget to eat, set a timer so that you can help yourself stay on track. If you're the type of person that's not a morning person, try to have a smoothie or a Greek yogurt or something in the morning to get yourself in the routine of eating something. If you're traveling, bring snacks with you. Maybe take a cooler in your car or have some good ready-to-go snacks if you're traveling airport style. Hydration. We need to make sure that we drink enough water because water plays a big role with performance, but then also weight loss. We need water for all metabolic purposes, and if we don't have enough water, our metabolism is going to slow down. It also acts as a lubricant for our joints, which is important, and we want to make sure that we're drinking at least 80 ounces per day. So if you are in South Florida like we are and you sweat more or you have an outside job, you're going to need to drink more. If you don't like the taste of water, you can try infusing it with fruit or mint or something to switch up the flavor a little bit. Juices and sodas could have upwards of 18 teaspoons of sugar, so just be mindful. We want to drink water, freshen it up with some fresh fruit or lemon or pineapple if you want to change up the flavor. Beware of all the sugary drinks from Starbucks. Even the quote-unquote light ones will still be loaded with fat and sugar. So just be mindful. Again, it's a lot easier to drink our calories than eat them. So you could be consuming a lot more calories just by the drinks, and it could be as many as you need in a day if you have a couple. So just be mindful of all of the drinks that you're drinking. Alcohol. I did a challenge in the Keys a couple years ago, and when I was doing everyone's measurements, I realized that we're going to have to change this part of the seminar. Typically we say, try to limit the amount of drinking that you do, but in the Keys, they are the #1 drinking capital in the US. So we had to change that up a little bit and really focus on what are some better options. If you're drinking an alcoholic beverage, drink 2 waters and then go back to the alcoholic beverage if you need another one. Sticking to a light beer or looking at a spirit mixed with water, a club soda would be a better option than a rum runner that could have 60 to 70 grams of sugar in just one drink. So be mindful of the alcohol that you're drinking. Know that alcohol slows down your recovery time and slows down the amount of time your body's ability to rebuild muscle. So if you're looking to increase your performance, we really want to limit the amount of alcohol that we have. We know that the effects of alcohol will carry over a couple days later. So just be mindful of when you're drinking, how often, and try to limit that as much as possible. We want to make sure that we're eating around our workouts. One misconception that I hear often is I should work out on an empty stomach because I'm going to burn fat. With CrossFit workouts in particular, you're not going to burn fat by working out on an empty stomach. We want to make sure that we're having some protein and some carbs together to replace our glycogen stores in the morning and ensure that we have fuel for the workout. We know that it takes a lot longer to convert protein to carbohydrates than it does for fat be converted to carbohydrates. So we want to just be mindful and have something before we work out. If you're the type of person that says I get nauseous before I work out, then try liquids over solid food. Maybe you do a half of a protein shake or a Greek yogurt or an applesauce mixed with a little bit of protein powder. You want to have something before you work out. What's its best type of protein powder? We want to have a whey protein over soy. Less is more with the ingredients. Try to stay away from all the fillers and artificial ingredients. You want to make sure you're pairing it with carbohydrates. So that might mean that you're mixing it with coconut water, or you might do a protein shake and maybe a Fit Aid, something along those lines, or applesauce. Coffee. So we know the half-life of coffee is 8 to 12 hours. So if you're drinking coffee at night, it will affect your sleep patterns even if you don't feel it. Coffee drinks We know that Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts coffees have a lot of sugar in them. So if you cut down the amount of sugar that you have just from your coffee, it really could make a big difference. So we want to limit the amount of sugar that we have in our coffee. If you're just doing coffee with a little bit of almond milk or creamer, okay, not a big deal. Just make sure you account for it when you're logging in MyFitnessPal, and have it earlier in the day. That'd be a better option. We want to make sure that we're getting enough sleep. I know some people's work schedules are very crazy, but being mindful of how much sleep that you get and really making a conscious effort of getting 7 hours at least of sleep is going to be helpful for you to optimize hormone levels and ensure that your cortisol level, your stress hormone, isn't increased, and ghrelin, which is the hormone that makes you satisfied, is normalized, and the leptin levels, which is ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, and leptin, the hormone that makes you satisfied, they're all stabilized. So we want to make sure that we are getting enough sleep. We know that if we're not getting enough sleep, all these hormones are going to be jacked up, and we're going to be more hungry and less satisfied and more stressed, which is a disaster if you're trying to lose weight. So make sure that you're sleeping. We know it's important for muscle recovery too. So ensure that you're getting enough sleep. That's actually one of the things on your checklist on the daily tracker sheet, is getting enough sleep. Hydration is also on there, making sure you're having something after your workout and making sure that you're following the meal plan. So make sure you're turning around those tracker sheets to help you stay on track with the challenge. When we're looking at action steps, we want to look at the goals that we set at the beginning. So say you set a goal of losing a pound a week over the course of 4 weeks. We're going to lose 4 pounds. How are we going to do that? What 3 things are you going to do to ensure that you're on the right track to achieve your goals? That might look like prepping 3 staples for the week and logging all your food and ensuring that you're eating consistently. Might look like just ensuring that you're getting the workout, your X number of workouts in, drinking enough water, and incorporating vegetables for every meal. Whatever action steps you think are realistic for you, that's what you need to write down. That's what you need to commit to. Doesn't mean that you need to change every single thing today. Start small. Maybe you make 2 action steps for this week and then 2 things next week, so that it's a progression instead of changing everything at once and being overwhelmed and not wanting to continue long term. Tracking your food is important. It helps you stay accountable. It helps you realize what you're eating. I tell a story often about my husband. He didn't realize all the sugar he was eating, and no matter how many times I told him how much sugar he was eating, he wasn't ready to listen. And until he logged his food himself, by not me probing him to do so, he wasn't able to get a real understanding of why he wasn't seeing the results he wanted to see, when the numbers going down and results of those workouts. And now he's seeing it and he's doing really, really well. But it wasn't until he started really tracking his food. And with clients that are doing a challenge, clients in general, our nutrition clients, tracking the food is important, because if I am redoing your measurements and body fat percentage and we're not seeing all the results that we want to see, the first thing I'm going to do is ask to see your food log. A lot of times something happens with the food log that you don't realize what you are consuming. There's a gap between the meal plan and the food log. So make sure that you're tracking your food. It helps you stay accountable, helps you realize what you're eating. There's a barcode for you, easy to scan. Keeps it easy to stay accountable when you're tracking your food. MyFitnessPal, very easy to use. It tells you the total calories that you've had for the day. It includes the exercise, so just be mindful. You don't necessarily want to include all of the exercise in your daily calories. If you're on a customized plan, we set your goal to exactly what you need to do. The challenge, how we're going to do this is I'm going to have you change your macronutrient goals, those 40, 30, 30, 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. And then we'll start logging our food there. That's going to be the first step to see where we're at. Tracking our progress. So in order to win the challenge, you need to turn in your tracking sheets. So this is just little check marks. You can email them to the nutrition coach that's running the challenge. If you're here locally, you're going to give them to me or put them in the box at the gym, and you're going to just look at just little check marks. Did you follow the meal plan? Did you drink the water? Did you exercise? Was there some type of stress management? So did you take a few minutes to read a book, or maybe you go sit outside? Maybe you get a massage or do yoga, whatever it is for you that's stress management. That's awesome. We want to make sure that we're eating around our workouts and having those omega-3s. If you don't want to take an omega-3 supplement, you could easily just do the if you don't want to take an omega-3 supplement, you can easily just incorporate chia seeds into your diet. Picking a winner is going to be based on participation, turning in those tracker sheets, and percentage results, not actual numbers. We need a fair playing game for everyone who's participating in the challenge. So just because someone lost 50 pounds, if that was only 2% of their body weight and someone lost 10% of their body weight, they're going to have a better chance of winning if they participated in the challenge. We want you guys to be engaging in social media, post pictures of the meals that you guys are prepping, hashtag our nutrition, hashtag in your gym's nutrition, hashtag Healthy Steps Nutrition and your gyms. You want to engage in those questions of the day related to nutrition, engage in those social media posts, please. We know the more engagement, the more accountability you'll have, the better your results are going to be. You want to turn in those tracker sheets again, and you're going to talk to your local nutrition coach to find out what the winning prize is. So I wish you guys the best of luck. You're going to be getting some emails from us weekly to help you with more steps along the way. Set those goals, set those action steps to ensure that you're on the right track. Talk to your nutrition coach to ensure everyone's on the same page with what your goals are so that we can help you stay accountable. Start small. Prep a few meals this week. Prep a few items. Check out the website, check out the recipes to see if any recipes catch your eye and that's what you want to use. We wish you the very best of luck, and we're excited to work with you over the next month. This challenge is step 1 in phase 1 of our nutrition program. Getting set up on a plan is the first step, but the big, important, the hardest step is the accountability, the phase 2 part, when we start tweaking your plan and ensuring that you have continued success. We know people can lose weight, over the course of a month, but our goal is to really help you keep it off. So this challenge is part of step 1, and step 2 is ongoing nutrition coaching. Again, we wish you the best of luck, and if you have any questions at all, reach out to your nutrition coach. We are here to help.